Hey everybody, it's Nate Charles. It's September 14th, 2025, and I'm back with another thought of the day. Credit for today's thought of the day goes out to one of my colleagues who sent me a link to a website called charliesmurderers.com. If you're not familiar, this website popped up very shortly after the death of Charlie Kirk. What it's doing is essentially doxing people who are celebrating Kirk's death, pulling posts, screenshots, names, and encouraging others to look them up, presumably to embarrass them or get them in trouble at work. And I'll admit it, I was a little insulted when I checked for my own content and found that I was not listed. Apparently, I'm not important enough. But seriously, let me pause here because I want to be absolutely clear. As I've been saying up since the beginning, political violence has no place in our society. I don't agree with what happened to Charlie Kirk, but I also need to be honest just as firmly. I did not like Charlie Kirk at all, and I've said that openly. Those two positions are not inconsistent. You can be shocked by the violence and still dislike the man. But back to this website. My colleague asked me, hey, is there anything that can be done about this? And my first reaction was, probably not. I still stand by that. But there is one small caveat, and I'll address that in a few minutes. Here's the bottom line. If you post something on social media, you don't really have a legitimate expectation of privacy over that material. Once it's out there, other people are free to republish it, share it, comment on it, and most importantly, the folks running sites like this aren't the government. They're not bound by the First Amendment in the way that the state is or the federal government is. Just like you have the right to speak, they have the right to criticize, repost, and call you out for what you say. So unless the site is crossing the line into making threats of violence or directly inciting violence, they're not really breaking any laws. It may be ugly, it may be mean-spirited, may even feel unfair, but from a legal standpoint, they're on solid ground. But here's the caveat. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or the DMCA. There's a federal law that gives you, as a creator of a piece of content, the ability to demand that online platforms remove it if it's reposted without your permission. Most people think of it in the context of music or movies on YouTube, but it also applies to photos you've taken, videos you've recorded, and even text you've written online. If you created a photo or video, you're the copyright holder, and you can force a platform to take it down using the DMCA. So if a site like charliesmurderers.com republishes your original photo, your video, or even your actual words, you can file a DMCA takedown notice. The platform or host is required to remove it unless the site owner files a counter notice. That is a narrow tool that you have if you've been affected by this website. The DMCA has been used to some effect in revenge porn cases. It does help the victims of revenge porn get those videos and photographs removed from the internet writ large. But here's the catch. The DMCA only protects the expression, not the underlying facts. In other words, they can't legally copy and paste your photo or your full text, but they absolutely can say, John Doe, say Nate Charles, tweeted celebrating Kirk's death, or keep a list of names of people who made those kinds of posts. Facts themselves aren't copyrighted, and the First Amendment protects the right of people to talk about them, including on charliesmurderers.com. So the takeaway is this. The DMCA gives you a very narrow but occasionally powerful way to protect your online creative work from being reposted. But it doesn't erase the fact that you said what you said or that you posted what you posted. And it doesn't stop anyone from calling you out for it either. That's the legal landscape. It may not be comforting, but it's worth knowing. If you got any questions about this, feel free to comment. I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as I can. You can even schedule a consultation with me online at my website, www.charlesinternationallaw.com. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again sometime soon.